Hey everyone, I hope you all are doing really well. In this particular video, I'm going to talk about how do you get started with the CMA. In fact, I'm having a couple of questions which I'm going to address in specific. So I have made this video on which part to choose first, either part one or part two, when you're starting with your CMA. And I've made various short videos on it. But this time I'm going to make a bit longer video, like 5 to 6 minutes, explaining you in detail of the content of both the parts and what interest you can gain or what experience you have in a specific part, so that you start with that rather than just going like, there is an instance that in the market they say it, the part two is having a shorter syllabus, part one is having a longer syllabus. That makes part two easy and part one a bit difficult. Well, nothing as such. And if someone says that part one is easy and part two is difficult, maybe because he is finding it difficult because he has his own personal experience with that. Maybe he's weak in accounting and strong in financial management. That's the reason he's saying part one is tough and part two is easy. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through the content structure, okay, like the overview content of both the parts. You should decide that which part is better for you, which part you feel like you're having more confidence in doing it, and get started with that particular part rather than having keeping on asking people which part to go first with on a regular basis. I get this question. So once for all, I'm going to make a detailed video and this is what it is going to be. So let me just share my screen so that I can show that to you. So here it is. Here's my portal for where you guys can take that classes. Now, to be more specific, let us just go towards part one and part two so that we have more clarity. Now, here's part one, external financial reporting decisions. Now, this is one particular part which is concentrating more on accounting, financial accounting. Now, people who are having good experience or good exposure in their graduation, in their studies, they are good in accounting, they have stronger basics in accounting, then this section is going to be really easy for them and they would love to choose this particular part. But still, this is again 15% of the syllabus, not the only thing to take a decision upon. So basically you're going to run through your assets, liabilities, treatment of accounting, treatment of the assets, liabilities, accrued income, liabilities, deferred liabilities, everything related to accounting is going to be in here. So it's more of a practical type of a section and a little bit of theory also in it. Then you have planning, budgeting, and forecasting. Now, in planning, budgeting, and forecasting, like just to be specific with forecasting, you would be doing more on regression, correlation, you'll be doing high and low method, you would be doing your linear regression. Now, when I talk about these stuff, it does not make it really difficult. It's really simple and it's really related towards the basics only of it. You're not going into deep regression analysis into equations and equations. You're not getting into that, but there are few equations which is really easy, you can learn and complete it. Like if suppose math is a fear to you and you feel like regression, correlation, these stuff is mathematics and it's a bit fearful to me, I was not a good student at that time, so I can give my own example that I was also not good at mathematics and I feared those terms, trigonometry, etc., etc. But here it's nothing like that. It's really understandable. Regression just explains you the relationship between two variables. Now, just to give it an example, like if you are going to invest more in advertising, then the sales are going to increase. Now, what is the relationship between these two variables? It's a direct relationship. Like you invest more in advertising, you get more sales. You invest less in advertising, you get less sales. So this is basically regression analysis, and there are many more examples which have been taken in the class itself. And then comes performance management. Now, in here, in this performance management, you're going to do a lot of No, sorry, I just did forecasting, right? Budgeting is there. In budgeting is you are anticipating your expenditure for a coming future. Planning is something you are sitting down, strategizing that how you should run an organization, what are the big decisions which you need to take for your organization, being at the top of the organization, looking into the organization as a whole and taking it forward. You have a lot of porters, five forces analysis, generic strategies in it. You also have the balance scorecard here. So planning is a bit of theoretical strategic stuff to learn. Budgeting again being practical problems where you need to find out the purchases. You would have been seeing the MCQs which I've been doing in here. And more to be more specific with budgeting, you would also have a lot of theory questions, like which budget comes first, which budget is prepared next, after this, how do you do that? So what's budgetary slack? These type of questions would be there in here. Then comes performance management. So I hope 1, 2 is done. Then performance management would be variance analysis, standard costing, where you set a standard and then you take the variances out of it. Then you also have responsibility accounting here, where you have different cost centers. You have different responsibility centers. Cost center is one of them. Cost center, revenue center, investment center, profit center, and then how you treat for it. How do you find out the ROI and the residual income? ROI and RI is there in here. All right. Now, moving forward, next we have cost management. Now, in cost management, you are doing the traditional costing at first. Okay. You are going to do the traditional costing. You're going to do cost management concepts. You are going to learn about then the modern accounting, cost accounting concepts, which is ABC, throughput and stuff. You're going to learn it later on. But first, you would be doing the absorption, variable costing, under, over, applied overheads, which is completely traditional. That would be at first, which you would be doing. Then coming up towards internal controls, this is talking about governance, risk, compliances, internal controls, and governance with it. And it's going to be completely theoretical. There won't be any problems in here, but in the above four, there are a lot of problems and a mixture of it. But section E, it's going to be completely theoretical. Section F is also going to be completely theoretical because it's technology analytics, but there is no bigger impact right now on technology and analytics, because though it's a bigger subject, while I'll be teaching you in the class, it's going to be a lot of content which I'll be also discussing about. But in the syllabus, in the content of syllabus, it's not that huge. It's really small and it's really understandable. In fact, it's really highly relatable to you to get a job tomorrow in the field of business analyst. This is going to help you a lot. So I hope that I have given you an overview of part 1, where you've got an understanding that what exactly is there in here. I did my best to show it to you in a really short format. Now, let me just go towards section, so sorry, part 2, so that I can explain that too. Now, in part 2, see, there is financial statement analysis. So those financial statements which you had already made in part 1, here you are going to do an analysis of it. Basically, it is ratio analysis. Ratio analysis, that which one is doing well, how is the current ratio, how is the asset test ratio, how are the different ratios calculated, why are they calculated, what do they denote, and if there is an increase in it or a decrease in it, what is it because. These are the analysis which we will be doing it, like financial modeling and stuff is here in the section A of part 2. All right. Then next comes is corporate finance. Now, corporate finance is a really big section to be said. In fact, I find it students having more problems in it. I personally also had a problem in it. There are other people who don't have problem in it. Now it depends on personal choice. I'm saying you don't take anybody's opinion. Even my opinion, if I say that this is tough, also don't take it. It's up to you. You read it, you learn it, you understand whether it's tough or easy. That's for you only. Okay. Then corporate finance, how do you get funds for the organization? Where do you get the funds from? Where do you invest these funds further? That's coming under investment decisions. But how do you get the funds? How do you manage those funds? How to invest it in the market, like open market, in the financial market, money market. What are derivatives? What are different instruments we are going to learn in this particular corporate finance? All right. And then comes decision analysis. Decision analysis comes with CVP analysis, which is cost, volume, profit analysis, then marginal analysis, then pricing analysis. Pricing is how do you set the price of the product, and margin analysis is what if you take an additional unit, what if you add on with an additional unit, what if you do an additional input, what can be the output. Basically, decision analysis is like taking both situations, like you'll be having two alternatives in front of you, whether to, if suppose I have to make this pen, whether I make it myself or I just go it out from I go out in the market and buy it. I have a choice. What is the cost for making this pen and what is the cost of going to the market and buying it? Now, if it is a single this pen, suppose if I buy it from market, it's going to make me $10, and if I have to make it myself, maybe it's costing me around $11-12. It's easy to take a decision, but you are going to make decisions for bigger organization, a bigger size of manufacturer, a bigger order size. How do you do that? Taking fixed cost, your variable cost into consideration. That's going to add on a lot of interesting facts, interesting stuff for you. I hope you guys are following up with me and able to relate to it. Then the next section, which is risk management. Now, this is really interesting, where you have the COSO framework also. This is a really short topic. Well, before, risk management and professional ethics was one only, but now they have separated it. But the content is kind of the same, because risk management is talking about how do you identify the risk, create risk maps. If you're already working in the risk department of an organization, you would be having a really good exposure towards it, identifying that what can be the impact of the risk, what or loss it can create if that impact is there. Then what can you have as a risk response to it so that you offset that particular risk. You're going to learn about that in this particular section. And in professional ethics, you're going to learn about the principal ethical codes. You are going to understand the difference between ethics, morality, and your legal work. You're going to have a difference on these, and you're going to work on how, if a different situation you are going to face in your organization, how do you come up with it? Because these are the type of cases you would be asked from. And then investment decisions is something where you are having enough funds and you want to invest it in a particular assignment. Now, I'm not talking about investment in the market, in the sense, in the stock market investment. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about investment of opening up a plant, opening up a manufacturing plant, opening up something really big out there. Should you do it or not? Or, if you're going to do it, what are the expected cash inflows which you're expecting? Here, you would be working on the discounted cash flows. There's a lot of stuff to work on. How do you get those discounting factors, annuity factors? You're going to learn about it in here. In fact, this is only one chapter, investment decision, but that one chapter is a really strong chapter and really interesting chapter, one of my favorite topic. Now, it does not mean don't take it as an advantage, but I'm just telling that this is my personal favorite topic, but really, really challenging, really, really interesting particular topic. Now, this is what the MCQs are going to come in from all these topics. Now, there will be a question from people asking me, sir, from where are the essays going to come? Believe me, I'm not the examiner. I'm not setting the paper, but as I have given the examination and I have my students giving the examination, I can say you that the questions are going to come as a mixture of all these topics. It's not going to be a specific essay question on ethics, a specific essay question on investment decisions. No, it's not going to be. It's going to be touching almost everything. So you should not be specific. Let me read investment decisions. There's a problematic question here. There's a question going to come in the main examination. Don't go with all those predictions. Have 100% comprehensive preparation. You will be good for your main examination. So I hope that I've explained you the content of part 1 and part 2. If you guys find it really helpful to make a decision, then just go ahead and choose either part 1 or part 2, which one you want to get started with. I hope that this is going to give you a lot of clarity. And if you want to join into my sessions, what I'll do is I'll put the link of this particular link. I'll put it down in the chat section below. You guys can register on the application and register for these classes also. This is the recorded classes. The content is full in here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.